Hi, this is Professor Mike Strahan from Northern Michigan University Olson Library. In this video, I will show you how to search for articles that deal with teacher stress and burnout. So we're going to start off with the library guide. This is the current version. I also have a mobile-friendly version that is laid out differently, but it's the same concept. We're going to be looking for articles. So we're going to click on the Find Articles tab, and then we click on OneSearch. OneSearch is a comprehensive database, indexes a lot of different databases themselves and also millions of articles. And so we're going to build a complex search strategy. And what I've done is I've already performed that, and let me open it up for you. And let's see here. There we go. So I've already identified, and I think it'd be a good idea for you to also put this out, whether you write it out or whether you do it a little bit more formally like I do. What I find about doing it in a Word document or a Google Docs document is that I'll be able to combine terms and just copy and paste them right into the database. So we're going to look at teachers, and then for synonymous terms, you want to put them all on the same line, and you're going to separate them with the capital word capitalized in all caps. Or so we're going to look at burnout or stress. I put an asterisk here because I want to look at different suffixes that follow the word stress, such as stress, stressors, stresses, stressed. I also want to look at articles that are talking about distress or fatigue or depression or insufficient training or traumatized teachers or well-being or mental health. All of those are synonymous terms with burnout. For our category of teachers, we're going to be, and grade levels, we're going to be looking at early childhood. So I put that in quotation marks, same as I did up here for insufficient training. It will look for those words in that exact order, as opposed to the word early and the word childhood, but not necessarily together. So I'm going to look for early childhood or preschool or kindergarten. Then I want to look at my support component of this. So I want to look for support or training or professional development as a phrase, or aware, such as people being aware, awareness, or prevent. We want to prevent this, prevention. So we put an asterisk after prevent, or mindfulness. What I found is when I ran the search earlier, I found a number of articles that were talking about mindfulness as a method to help uh, people cope with burnout. So that's our search strategy. Let's go back to our database. So I'm going to put teachers in here. It automatically does plural. So if I type in teachers, it'll look for teacher or teachers automatically. I don't have to add that. And I'm not going to limit it to any particular field. The next one, I'm going to copy and paste my burnout terms. Then I need to add some more lines, and it's going to and all of these together. So I have my category of teachers. So I want early childhood or preschool or kindergarten. And I'm going to add another new line. And for this, we're going to have our support terms. And I know it seems like a lot, but we're looking for articles that are going to be talking about all of these discussed together. I'm not going to do any limiters. We'll do that in a little bit here. So we click on search. I have 26,000 articles that are talking about this. topic, way more than I ever expected. But also keep in mind, I haven't limited it to articles yet. So we want to limit it to peer reviewed. That's pretty much a given, but we have to limit it. So I want peer reviewed articles. I want articles themselves. I'm not interested in dissertations or books or book chapters. And I also want to have them available online. Keep in mind, if you do find some ones we could avoid, we could leave this off as a setting, and we would also get articles, citations that we don't own here at Northern's Library. And you can request them through the library alone. It would take roughly 48 hours to get a copy of that article in digital form. It's well worth it. If you find too little, that's not an issue for our topic, but keep that in mind. So I'm going to limit it to available online, and I'm going to apply those filters. That brings it down to 6,000. And then I want to limit our years. So we're only going to be looking at from 2018 to date. And I click on refine. And so now I've got over 3,000 articles dealing with this topic. Next task is how you want to look at the relevancy. Right now, it's decided based upon the occurrence of terms which are the most important. It's not like Google where you have ads first. It's most important. Okay. What I want to do though is I'm interested in just, I'm going to try changing it to from relevance to date newest. Let's see how that affects our results. So I've got teacher roles in Korea. Okay. I've got a model for psychological consultation. That might be interesting. I've got burnout. That could be interesting. I've got some, I'm still looking at 2025 articles, which is wonderful. Um, and I've got some duplicates that are showing up here. I think what I'm going to do is go back to our relevance. So I want to look at the most relevant articles. So the first one here, it's in BMC Psychology, was published last year, and it brings up an excerpt. So it's talking about teacher burnout, general stress, anxiety, depression. Could have added also quality of life. They're talking about how mindfulness uh, would relate negatively to mental health, meaning it's going to support that. So that's going to be a really good article to look at. This one is interesting. I've got building reflective capacity and improving well-being of early childhood professionals through an embedded cross-system model of infant early childhood mental health consultation. When I first looked at this article, I thought, oh, this is dealing with the children themselves, but they're not. If you scan on past the view online and go past the subject headings and get into the actual abstract, the description, which is written by the author, what we find here, so it aims to improve early childhood professionals' abilities to promote children's health. And I wanted to dig further, and here's what they did. They did a sample of 136 staff and over a 21-month period. And then they did a subgroup where they participated in interviews and whatnot. And they talked about predicting lower levels of burnout. And among teachers completing the child assessments, those with high reflection capacity rated children's behaviors more positively than teachers with lower reflective. So that might be a possibility. And if you notice, they go on and they write the abstract in other languages. So that might be, but it seems to be a little far afield, even though it is talking about professional burnout and things like that. If we want this article, I recommend skip over like EBSCOhost or ProQuest if it shows up. And if you see a link directly to the publisher, like Wiley or Sage, Sage is a major publisher of education journals. Wiley is also. Click on that link. It will take us directly to that article. And our license allows you to download this article. So, and we always want to download the PDF. So we click on the PDF icon. It opens it up. I come over here, I click on the download button to download it. I have it opening up in my Adobe, and then from here I can tell it, go to the menu and tell it to save as. And this is for an education grad class, so I'm going to tell it to save it in my Ed Grad students folder. And then I can give it a name. That's a little bit long, so I think I'm just going to take the initial title here, get rid of that, the journal, author, and the title here, and click on save, and I've saved it. If we go back, I've got so many others. In fact, with this type of results, you can even limit it further. You could limit it to United States if you wanted to, because there's discussion of other countries in here. We could consider that. You could even just restrict it to the last couple of years of articles being published. Um, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. And oh, yeah, by the way, how do we reference this article? So let's go back to our the Building Reflective here. They do have a citation tool built in. We can click on it, make sure it's APA 7th edition. It gives us the authors, because the article title was written in lowercase, in sentence case as opposed to title case, that'll work. It's got the journal title and everything else, and you can just copy this to clipboard and paste it into your paper. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.